Grow, engage, retain. Between your consumers and you as a brand, what is your shared interest? Even just switches in your language from "we are so excited to announce" to "we are really excited to be sharing with you." Having viral comments, I think, is just as powerful, mobility and traffic-wise, as a viral video. It warms my heart now that community is what I do and I teach, because it wholeheartedly changed my life. And I think for so many others, brands can offer that opportunity too.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Marketers Debrief podcast from Journey Further with me, Billy. Now, community is a hot topic within the world of marketing and digital right now. It is something which most brands online are constantly striving to foster and grow. But let's be honest, it's bloody difficult. But today's guest might be able to offer some actionable insight into how you can make that a little bit easier. Sophie Miller is founder of Pretty Little Marketer, a marketing community of over 400,000 people. So she definitely knows a thing or two. Sophie, hello and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You are more than welcome. It's my pleasure. I'm going to start with a wonderfully vague, quite tricky question, so bear with me. As someone who has managed to cultivate an audience of hundreds of thousands and crucially keep them engaged, keep them sticking around, what's the secret?
That is a very big question. There are, as with all things in marketing, there are many secrets and many steps. Community, as easy as it looks and sounds, it doesn't happen overnight. All of these brands you see online who kill community, oh my goodness, they're so engaged, people share their content all the time. That had a snowball effect from one decision, strategic or maybe by accident, because marketing is full of happy accidents. I have a kind of 3-step strategy process when it comes to building community, both for my own brand and the brands that I consult with. Grow, engage, retain. I often use this analogy on LinkedIn about how when you share content, you're in an auditorium and you're sharing with an audience. And first, you want that audience engaged, but you can't engage an empty stadium if there's no one there. So your step number 1 is grow, considering what growth looks like for you. And I use something that I call thin content that I'm sure we'll get into today. It might look like leveraging shareable content, using, TikTok trends or trending audios to expand your reach. But your goal, first and foremost, is to grow, is to get in front of new, right people. Once those people are in your auditorium, you're on the stage. Okay, well, no one wants to sing or perform to a flat crowd, right? So step number 2 is, of course, to engage them through your content, through the way that you speak to them, through sharing a variety of content that makes your brand experience on social media a positive one and one that we look forward to. Now those people are there, we don't want people to leave halfway through our concert. We want to retain them. So regularly providing opportunities to get involved, in the comment section on your Instagram stories, providing multiple touch points. Are you sharing behind the scenes on LinkedIn, but really engaging pieces in your broadcast channel? Are you sharing quick tips and insights and funny pieces on Threads, but product updates and reviews on your Instagram feed? If you can consistently grow, engage, retain, and hopefully implement some more of the tips that we will share in today's recording, I think that you are on your way to creating an online community. And on your way is an important part there, because again, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long-term effect of hard work, effort, and engaging with your audience.
Well, Sophie, I gave you a very difficult question and you answered it very well.
I tried my best.
Let's dial back a bit. Could you briefly talk us about where Pretty Little Marketer came from and what sort of challenges it aims to solve for its members?
Absolutely. So my business, Pretty Little Marketer, was started by accident. I was a university student 4 years ago. I was in my second year at the time. It was 2020. And I am, I think, what's called a pandemic graduate or COVID graduate. So my second and third year of university were completely remote. second year ended, and I had this moment where I submitted my final assignment of the year, and I felt like I was no closer to that eureka moment of, this is exactly what I want to do. This is the job role. This is the company. And I'm a Gen Z baby. So all of my problems are solved on social media, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Right? And I opened up Instagram at Pretty Little Marketer, started a new profile, and just thought that maybe if I shared my thoughts, shared my experience, someone out there, 5 people, 10 people, just a small group of people, if anyone else could have formed those feelings, and maybe we can do that together. So I started posting every day of the week, and within a week there were 1,000 followers, within 2 weeks 2,000, and now there are, I think, something like 560,000 followers across platforms. So I run our members community, I host in-person events, I speak and teach and consult with brands now on community and organic socials as well. And it was all born from that, gosh, I wish there were other people that I could connect with who felt just like me. And I think for so many others, brands can offer that opportunity too. I always use Gymshark as a great community example, and I know so many other people do as well. In particular, their in-person events and their run club. I love how they offer the opportunity for people to do something new for the first time, attend an event alone, have these confidence building moments, because that's where community can really change lives. And I think that if you can do that for your customers, how great can that relationship be? You've got lifelong loyalty to that brand now because they have transformed you in an unexpected way.
So do you think that's kind of what you could put down to a lot of the growth success then, is the fact that you were talking about incredibly relatable issues, challenges and solutions?
Absolutely. I think when it comes to building community, there are 2 connection points that I teach and encourage, and it's connection to you. So again, using Gymshark as an example, Gymshark sell athleisure, gym wear, but between them and their audiences is connection and love for self-improvement, for growth, for stretching muscles literally and mentally. So you've got this connection point to you as a brand where your audience see you or see me in them. There's that relatability factor. But then there's connection to each other, which is why for me organic socials is so important. Giving people opportunities to interact in forums so people don't feel alone in their struggles, their thoughts, and their questions. So how do I create community with each other? Not just with me. So a twofold approach, I suppose.
So would you say then that for any brands who are looking to start out on their sort of journey of building an engaged community, would that be one of your first things to suggest? It's figuring out what is the connection that I can have with the people that I want to speak to?
Absolutely. So between your consumers and you as a brand, what is your shared interest? Oatly, the dairy alternative brand, are a brilliant example of this. If you look at their socials, their Instagram in particular, what they connect over is this desire for a happier and healthier planet. It's social cause. It's being passionate about environmental issues and acting on it. Oatly don't sell solutions to climate change, but it's what they connect over. So really identifying, aside from the physical, tangible products or services that you sell, what is it that connects you and your audience? What is that shared interest?
Very interestingly, we've already touched upon quite a lot of social platforms, communication channels. There are so many out there. How can brands figure out which are the right ones for them? Is it a case of just test and learn?
Classic marketer answer, it depends, of course. I think there are a few things to consider. One, your time, your budget, and your resource. If you have a one-person marketing team, which is incredibly common in our industry, if you're then like, right, go and run a Discord alongside everything else you do, it might not have the impact you're expecting because the input is going to be really difficult. But if you're asking them to reshare posts and share a few sneak peeks from stories to a broadcast channel where they're already on Instagram, you know your audience are already there, so you're not growing from scratch, that has a much higher likelihood of succeeding. So assessing your resource, your time, and the impact that you want to have, what's available to you and what's going to work. Then equally in that, considering what is the goal. So for me, my paid membership offers webinars, resources, community, access to experts. A broadcast channel doesn't offer me the functionalities to achieve those goals. However, for a brand like Refi, where they just want a more intimate space to engage and share updates, taking their users and followers to a new platform, you might lose engagement from them. They might not want to. It's an extra step to engage. But if they know that a broadcast channel or a group chat is going to tick that box, then perfect. So assessing your resource, but also assessing your goal. What is it you want to offer and where's going to do that for you?
Here at Journey Further, we are currently undergoing quite a lot of research and sort of taking a lot of time to figure out what are the outdated tactics within marketing which worked back in the day, but now we've moved past them. Are there any that spring to mind for you?
So many, first and foremost, but I think thinking specifically on community is that community is only for your comment sections. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and I love that community and community building has become a more popular and a louder conversation. Because I, to my core, believe that community is the future. Again, brands like Refi, Oatly, Gymshark, we're talking about them because they're innovating. They're doing incredible things that people don't typically do when it comes to community. But whenever I see community-based content, 5 steps to build your community, it always starts and ends at reply to your comments. But I think before you get to the tactics of community building, you need your foundations, you need your connection points, and you need to understand how you're going to grow, retain, and engage, both online and in person. So community is more than just your comment section, would be my myth. Or maybe it's just something that irks me because I spend too much time on LinkedIn, but hopefully a lesson in there too.
I want to talk about sort of like loyalty and honesty. You can really become closer to your followers, your community, if you speak from the heart, if you are open and honest. But many people, many brands might sort of hear this advice and think, that's great, I'd love to do that. But I don't know, maybe that brand's tone of voice isn't very open and honest. Maybe it's quite corporate or maybe it's quite dry. How would you advise those kind of brands to sort of bridge that gap and to speak from the heart and to be more open and honest with their community while still towing the line of their tricky brand tone of voice?
It can be so hard. Sometimes I have freelanced with mega kind of like global corporations in the past where every comment needs 4 people to look at it. But also, as you said, not every brand is gonna dress up a mascot and twerk on TikTok like Duolingo or I don't know if you've seen Nutter Butter on TikTok.
Do you know what? I've seen people talk about it, but I've not actually really seen it.
Is
it quite like wild?
It is absolutely bananas. Not everyone has that freedom. And as you said, it doesn't fit every brand. If Apple suddenly started, I don't know, doing what Duolingo do on TikTok, I'd be quite surprised because it's not what I expect from them. So first and foremost, I think is that self-reflection of what do our audience expect from us? How do they know us? But 2, I think aside from being vulnerable and authentic, it's just about being human. And I don't think that has to mean behind the scenes or all of your team on TikTok, although employee-generated content is trending and I think it's going to continue to be for a long time. Even just switches in your language from we are so excited to announce to we are really excited to be sharing with you. We are excited to announce is all about you. We're excited to share with you. You're saying the same thing, but the tone and the way that connects is completely different. So don't underestimate the tiny changes. I don't think it needs to be a 360 strategy change. It's just remembering that you're speaking to people. And it's not all about you as a brand. There needs to be some sort of 2-way interaction.
What about when you start to plateau with your content or maybe your engagement is kind of hitting a ceiling? Is that a cause for concern and should brands panic? How should they sort of navigate that tricky moment?
So oftentimes for me, it's going back to the drawing board. Who are we? What do we want to be known for? and who do we want to be known to? And then spending time online. If your customers aren't in your comment section, they're definitely on their phones. So where are they? I have a kind of content bucket, I suppose, in my own content that I call thin content. And I don't know if you've heard of Poppy. They're like a drink brand in the US. They do what I would call thin content really well.
Right.
So thin content is content designed purely for interaction and engagement. So you're probably not going to see a bunch of sales off the back of it. You're not nurturing your audience. You're just sharing something that will engage them. And what you're doing is you're building engagement here. So the next time you pop up in feed, oh, cool, I'm going to engage again. Brands like Poppy do this really well. And I think it works greatly for them. So giving it a try.
Let's talk about the future then. Marketers are always desperately trying to look ahead and try and get ahead of the game. What do you think the future of community engagement looks like? And what tools or platforms are you looking to leverage more? And what might you be looking to dial back?
This is such a fun question. I am such a nerd when it comes to like future predictions. I think a few things. Number one, we've mentioned employee generated content. Again, Anthropology do this well. Sheerlux do this well. SEMrush do this really well on LinkedIn as well, which is quite an underrated platform. In-person connection. Gymshark, great one. Perfect TED do this a lot. They partner with different brands. They partnered with Crosstown Donuts, I think, and hosted an event for a run club.
Right.
So even those more unconventional opportunities, I think making memories with your customers and your communities is the future. And I don't know what I would title this one, but there's a beauty brand that I love called Say. It's SAIE if you want to check them out. They sell beauty products. Their Instagram's all about their beauty products and reviews and kind of UGC content. But they've recently launched a Substack, which is like a newsletter that is written by their employees. So it might be our employees' favorite products this week, what our employees are watching on Netflix this week. And I think it's so interesting how they're, again, to use the term, like expanding their brand universe outside of just, oh yeah, Say, I love their primer. I love their lip gloss. Actually, I love their newsletter. I feel like they're speaking to me when I read it. Yeah, I don't know what we'd title prediction number 3, but moving into those more one-on-one spaces and expanding your brand universe.
Love it. We'll have to check back in about 5 years and see which one's come true.
I'll be here.
Final question, and it's a question which we end every podcast with. If you was to recommend any book to the Journey Further book club, what book would it be and why?
Oh, good question. This one's very on theme. I have a lovely friend called Daisy Morris who runs an online community and agency called The Selfhood. She's incredible. She wrote a book last year called Community is Your Currency. And it's like a community building Bible. There are case studies in there. And she really breaks down, one, strategically, how can you build your own community? But two, marrying brands and culture and understanding where brand communities fit in society day to day. Community is Your Currency by Daisy Morris. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon. You can buy it everywhere. Is excellent. I would very much recommend.
Brilliant. That is a very good recommendation and one that we've not had before. So if you are watching this, definitely go check that out. Sophie, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.